Hey everybody, thanks for watching the yard event training. My name is Joshua and this is Mary, and we're really glad that you are going to be a part of the yard event. I think this is the fourth year, is this our fourth year to do the yard event? So we're gonna get through this training. We're gonna go pretty quickly so that we're not wasting your time, but there's gonna be some questions at the end. We wanna make sure you answer those questions at the end before you submit your form, and that way we'll know that you've watched the training and everybody's on the same page.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for being willing to volunteer again. Many of you, this will be your fourth time, and we're just thrilled that you're back with us. It's an honor for us to get to even go into the prison, and to have the favor that we have just means a lot to me.
Mary, how long have you been serving in prison ministry?
I think about 17 years.
So 17 years. I've been serving just for about 2 years, but Mary's been going pretty much every Wednesday for the last 17 years. And so it's obviously a big deal for her that her church family is a part of this, and we want to build on the foundation that she has laid. And so that's why we're going to go over some things that you can do, some things that you can't do, some things you're not going to understand, and that's okay. Some things you've heard before, but we want to encourage you to pay attention, follow along, and if you have any questions, be sure to put those in the comments. I'm going to go through a couple of things that you can do, things we want you to do. We want you to smile a lot. There's going to be about 1,000 women that we're going to minister to. We're going to feed them, we're going to play games, we're going to play some music and do worship, share the gospel, and a smile on your face is going to say a lot. So we want you to smile a lot throughout the day. We want you to engage in conversation with the women and the staff. There will be staff on the yard as well, and we want you to talk to them, engage in conversation, talk to the women, find out their name. We're going to go over what you can and can't talk about in a minute, but we want you to just stay engaged throughout the day. Be respectful at all times to staff and inmates. Like I said, there's some things that you're not going to understand. There's going to be weird to you or out of place. No matter what happens, you can still be respectful, especially to the staff there. Remember that you're representing not only Bethany Church, but you're also representing Jesus Christ. So be a good example and leave a good taste in their mouth, not just from the good food, but from our experience there. We want to leave a good taste in their mouth. When we leave, they say, in that Bethany Church, they really loved on us and really took care of us. And maybe I don't agree with everything they teach, but I know that they really care about us, and that'll go a long way. Immediately respond and obey if the staff or one of us give instructions. It's very, very crucial, especially if a staff member says you need to go here or do this. Don't argue, don't be disrespectful, just do it. Even if you don't understand, do it immediately, because they have a broader picture and they know the rules really well. Do stay where you're assigned. We want you to stay in your spot. If you're serving food or drinks or playing games or helping out with other things, stay in your assigned spot, except for when it's over. So when your responsibility is over, we want you to continue to be engaged and find something else to do. So that maybe it means just hanging out with some of the women, maybe it means helping out with the games, maybe it means passing out water bottles to the band. Just find something to do and stay engaged. Don't just sit under a tree and hang out and say, well, my job is over. Do have fun and let everybody else see that you're having fun. This is not a stuffy time. We're going to have a blast. We're going to play some really fun games. We want you to laugh and cut up and have a good time. It'll just help the whole atmosphere and all the women on the yard have a good time as well. Do share Christ. Do share your faith if you are asked. If somebody asks you about what you believe, you're more than welcome to. We encourage you to share your faith and share what Christ has done for you. And also do wear comfortable shoes, jeans without holes, and or pants. You don't have to wear jeans, but some kind of pants, and and your Bethany shirt. We're gonna have this is the one from last year, but we're gonna have new Bethany shirts made, and so we want you to wear your Bethany shirt and some pants. Did I miss anything you should do, Mary?
You can wear, it says comfortable shoes, you can wear sandals, if you can see my feet. This sandal would be okay because it has a back strap. So as long as a sandal has a back strap, you can wear it. Just want to make sure that you're wearing something comfortable.
So no flip-flops?
No flip-flops of any kind. Women can wear capris as long as they are mid-calf, not just to the knee, but mid-calf. So if you're questionable about that, just stick to the pants.
But so the other side of that is no shorts, right?
That's
we can't wear
correct.
shorts.
No shorts.
Okay. So tell us some things that we should not do, Mary.
Okay. So Joshua got the fun part, the do's. I had the don'ts. One of the things is not to tell anyone personal information. They may ask you where you live, how many kids you have, where you go to work, all these kinds of things, but share very little personal information with them. Do not let any of the inmates give you anything. A written note, a message, anything like that to take to someone. They may say, hey, my mom's gonna come by Bethany and I wanna just drop off this note to her. We cannot take anything out, even a verbal message. Don't promise that you'll write or stay in touch. Our mission for this event is not to become pen pals. So we don't wanna make any promises that we cannot keep. Do not ask personal information about the offenders. It is not relevant to our event to know why they're there or anything else. Now, they may share with you that, and that's fine. They may share with you how many kids they have, all kinds of things, but we're not to ask personal information. Don't ask an officer about why or why not we're doing something. It goes back up to the do be respectful. Sometimes, as Joshua said at the beginning, it doesn't make any sense why we're being told to not do something or to do something. We just have to go with what they're telling us. Do not have one-on-one conversations with an offender if you are a male. This is even actually something that you would want to be considerate of even as a female, that we are not having one-on-one conversations, especially if they begin to get any personal at all. It's just best. There's going to be enough of us that you stay with someone else so that there's always somebody else hearing what's going on.
That just protects you and it protects them. So if they were to accuse you of something, you always have a witness. You have somebody who said, no, actually, that's not what happened. I was standing right there. It's just always better to have a conversation in a group setting on the yard.
Always. So this one is a big deal. Do not hug any of the inmates. You can shake hands. Joshua is pretty good about doing a fist bump. The gals know when they see him, that's what they're going to do. No touching. So I will say that probably many of you are going to say, well, I went last year and I saw you hugging some of the girls. And that's one of the things that 17 years of being out there will get you, is there is some familiarity, and I try very hard to adhere to this rule, but sometimes they just catch me off guard and I don't get it stopped. But it is important.
So what you're saying is after you serve for 17 years, then
you may get away with a hug.
You may get away with a hug.
That's
but
right.
For us who've been there less than 17 years,
yep. That's
we're
right.
not to hug. Fist bumps, high fives, handshakes, that sort of thing.
All of that's great, yes. Do not speak negatively against any other belief system. Be very careful that you don't, if someone tells you they're Wiccan or they're Buddhist, or they might even say some strange things you've never even heard of. We want to never speak against anybody else's belief system.
Yeah, any other religions, again, we're not going there to change people's minds about what they believe or don't believe as far as other religions. And we want to be respectful of people who believe other things. So if they say anything other than that they believe something other than Christianity, you can just nod your head and then you can go back and you can tell them what you believe. Tell them what you believe and what Jesus has done for you. But don't speak negatively about their beliefs.
That's right. And then the other thing is not to go into any building or onto the patios without authorization. And I can't even really think of a reason why you would even get authorization to go into one of the dorms.
Just the bathroom, right?
That's right.
That'd be the only.
There is an administration building that is handy right next to the chapel. There's bathrooms available in both of those buildings, and that would be the only reason why you would be going into one of the buildings.
We'll make sure you know where those are. Those are the only buildings you can go in. The rest of the time, it's on the yard, and if you've never been, it's an oval, and basically it's just grass. And so wherever there's grass, that's where we're allowed to be. But beyond that, you have to have permission. Don't go anywhere without permission.
That's right. The patios that oval is surrounded by their dorms. On those dorms, there's patios. Many of the girls will maybe not venture out to the yard, but they'll stay on those patios where they can hear us and see us, and we can engage them from the oval.
So we've talked about some things that you can and can't do. We want to make sure we're clear on what you can bring into the yard and what you can't bring into the yard. So things that you should not bring into the yard are medication, money, wallet, gum, sunscreen, weapons, of course, letters or cards from the outside. Now you may say, I have to take medication. If you have to take medication, you have to leave it in your vehicle, check out, go take your medication, and then check back in. We will have some sunscreen that we bring in as a church, but don't bring in your own personal sunscreen. Don't be passing out gum or candy or anything like that. Anything else that we can't bring in?
Cell phones.
Cell phones, of course.
Big one.
Don't bring in a cell phone. Don't just leave it in your car. In fact, turn it off, leave it in your car, leave it locked up.
The other thing
is...
watches.
Yeah, you can bring in watches, but you can't bring in a smartwatch. So you can't bring in like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, but you can bring in, what you call them, a dummy watch. Yeah. You can bring in a dummy watch. Okay, yeah, so don't bring in cell phones. What you can bring in are sunglasses, hats. Of course, we want you to wear your Bethany shirt. Jewelry, you can wear jewelry, right,
yes,
Mary?
You can wear jewelry.
In fact, I think the women like that. I never wear jewelry, but
I do.
The women like that. And like we said, you can wear a watch, but it can't be a smartwatch. So no Fitbit or Apple Watch or anything like that. Just a regular $2.95 watch you get from Walmart will be fine. Anything else we can or can't bring in?
You can bring like chapstick. You can have we will have sunscreen, but if you want chapstick, you can have that and have it in your pocket.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about what you can or can't bring, just ask us. Pretty much, we're going to say just leave it in your car. But if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us.
So I know that's lots of do's, lots of don'ts, and mainly we just want you to know, have a basic understanding, because what I've learned over 17 years is most volunteers that get in trouble in the prison system, it isn't intentional. It is a lack of knowledge. And we want you to have all the knowledge that is possible so that you don't unintentionally do something that gets you in trouble and also gets Bethany in trouble. We've got favor on the yard and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Dress code is very important. One of the things that I hear a lot from officers, because the officers know the rules, and from staff, from the chaplain, is how disappointing it is when religious volunteers don't follow the rules, and the dress code is a big one. So we want to be that group that follows those rules. If you have any question, pants are too tight, this isn't appropriate, then just be sure and ask one of us, Pastor Ernest, Pastor Joshua, or myself. Women, be mindful of how tight your t-shirt is. Mm-hmm.
Basically, just to be safe, if you just want to wear tennis shoes, loose-fitting jeans, and your Bethany shirt, and
that's right,
you'll be good to go. And there's no reason for us to even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
That.
There's a few things that have come up in the past that we thought it'd be helpful to mention. Again, I think I mentioned this in the dues about being with someone. Men especially, you've got to make sure that you are with at least one other person. Don't walk off the oval towards one of the buildings with anybody, just for appearance sake. If anything comes up, if somebody says something, you overhear something that just makes you feel a little uncomfortable, don't wait until after the event to tell us about it. Let us know right then. Come find Pastor Joshua or Pastor Ernest or myself, or even Chaplain McCollum will probably be on the yard that day. Come find one of us. Let's take care of it right then, because generally everything can be resolved right then while it's still fresh.
One other thing I'll mention from a guy's perspective is when you're talking to the women, you shouldn't be joking around in anything that could be construed as inappropriate. So like handing out phone numbers or anything like that, even if you're just joking around, like just avoid those kind of conversations, because those can lead to negative things. And again, we want to be above reproach, and we're just there to love them, to care for them, and to show them grace. And so just avoid those kind of conversations. I mentioned this earlier, but we do want to encourage you to be engaged the whole time. So let's say you're responsible to serve drinks. You're going to be really busy in the morning all the way until the last person has gone through the lunch line. But then we still have another hour and a half or 2 hours of games and music and worship and time where we'll share the gospel. We have that time after all the food and drinks are over. We don't want you to just sit back and say, well, my job is done. We want to encourage you to be engaged, to get out, to meet somebody new, go high five, participate in a game, just hang out with a couple of the inmates and the women and just talk to them. Just stay engaged. We especially don't want to have this idea of where we have these little cliques where we're here and they're there. No, we want to intermingle and be everybody, all of our shirts, if I don't know what color they are, but if they're green, all the green shirts are mixed in with the orange, and there's no separation there. So we want to encourage you to do that. Also, you will encounter some women who look like they're men. There are some women on the yard who are transgender. And so we want to give you a heads up for that. First of all, don't be shocked or don't appear shocked when you see them. But also be respectful. And if they say, I want to be called a guy, or I want to be referred to as yes, sir, or he, then you have to accommodate that. Now, whether you believe that or not believe that, again, we're not there to change their beliefs in that. We're there to show them Christ's love, to be respectful. So we want to, first of all, let you know that is probably going to happen. Be accommodating to them, and we want to leave and then say how much we cared about them, how much we love them, and we weren't there to judge them or condemn them in any way. Anything else? Turn in your guest forms. Some of you have not turned in your background check forms, so I want to encourage you to do that. You can email those to me, joshua@bethanyba.church. Just email that to me, and we've got to get all those processed. The due date is April 14th, so make sure you turn in those guest forms by April 14th.
But I would like to just say that I think most of the people who are on our team know that it was hard for me to want to share my Eddie Warrior women with the church, not because of anything other than I'm protective of them. And I want us to show grace. And just as an example with the transgender situation we have, it's just like in the world. It's becoming more and more prevalent. But our job for this day is to show grace and to show it in such an amazing amount that they just sit on their bunk that night and say, whoa, I've never been treated so well in my life. Because that will be the case for many of them. Many of them will say things like, I've never had a day like that. I never knew you could have so much fun sober. I never have been to an event where there wasn't some sort of drugs or alcohol that so many people were having fun. So we want to leave that yard and for all of them to go back to their dorms and to say, while they lay on those beds that night, to themselves, man, maybe there is something to this Christianity thing. Those people were pretty cool.
Yeah. You're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a blast, and we want to encourage you to show that, to be expressive, to have a good time. We're going to go to bless them, but I promise you, you're going to leave with your cup full, and we're expecting the Holy Spirit to go before us and to prepare everything as we do our work. We're going to anticipate Him doing His work, and when at the end of the day, when we worship together and we share the gospel, I want to encourage you to be engaged during that part and be ready to pray with women. We'll have an opportunity for women. If anybody wants prayer, that we will pray with them. So I want to encourage you to be ready to do that. If you have any questions about that, you can ask us. But we're excited about what God's going to do on May the 18th and excited about the 4th year to be able to minister to these women. And so thank you for watching the training. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can also be sure to answer the questions at the bottom of the module so that we know that you watched the training and so that everybody's on the same page. And we look forward to May the 18th. Why don't I pray for us? Is that okay?
Great.
Lord, thank you for the opportunity we have to encourage the women of Eddie Warrior Correctional Center. Lord, thank you for Mary's work over these last 17 years, how she has really laid the foundation for us to be able to minister in this way. I pray, Lord, that you would go before us, that even now you would begin working out all the details. We have a lot of stuff we're going to bring in, a lot of things that they have to sign off on. And I pray that we would have favor with the warden, with the chaplain, with the officers there. Lord, that it would be an enjoyable day for them as well. And I pray for our time of sharing the gospel, that the gospel would be powerful and that your word would be true in their hearts, and that we would see women come to know you, maybe accept you for the first time. And I pray that it would just be a fun day. You would keep us safe and help us to be great examples of your Son. And we thank you for going before us. Thank you for answering our prayers. And thank you for all of these people who are giving up their Saturday to be a part of this ministry. Pray your blessings on them. We love you, and we look forward with expectation of what you're going to do on May 18th. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.